Welcome to Stressless Joy More with Doris and
Paula.
we're here today for a special summer vibe episode about summer and well-being. And Paula, what is the first thing you think of when you hear the word summer?
The lake, playfulness, and fun. And how about you, Doris? What do you think of?
The first thing that show up to my mind is that change from working schedule to summer holidays, also as a child, and also that finding balance between the explosion of energy that is given to us by nature, longer days, more sunlight, and also that need for rest, calm, and just doing nothing, just lying on the beach. And
Mm.
what's your favorite childhood summer experience, Paula?
I grew up in Northern Ontario and we lived a 5-minute run from the lake. So my favorite experience was we spent the whole summer at the lake. We had swimming lessons in the morning and then the lifeguards are on duty in the afternoon and evening. I spent hours diving for pop cans. It was so much fun. I spent hours in the water and that's my absolute favorite childhood memory. And what about,
Oh,
yeah, and what about you? What did summer mean to you as a child?
it was that big difference from the structure of the school system, of, everything we had to do. We were sort of parented in a way that after you did everything you had to do, then it was time for your joys, for your play. So I remember also taking time off. I felt my parents really took the time off only when they were on vacation. Otherwise, there would be a lot of time in their work mode. And for me, summer was that time when I'm allowed also maybe to be a child, to play, to be free, to be maybe also a little bit naughty, and just be me.
I love
Yeah.
that.
And
That
sort of, I think
freedom.
we forget that as adults, to have that childhood playfulness. Would you agree?
Absolutely. We get very young, we get enculturated into the work world and we forget how to play. We forget how to have fun. We forget the spontaneity of play and the unstructuredness of play.
Mm.
Um, we have this show that my kids grew up with called The Magic School Bus. And I don't know if you're you're aware of that show, but there was this beautiful teacher and she was magical. And she would take them on these school bus rides to these beautiful places. And she used to always say, you know, get messy, make mistakes, and have fun. And I
Mm.
think, isn't that what play is? Get messy, make mistakes, have fun. And as children, we get to go play in the mud, play at the beach. And as adults, we kind of leave that playful fun behind. And, I think of that quote. What is that one about? You don't stop playing um, because you're getting old. Is that how it goes?
Yeah.
Or and then it's
You get old because you stop playing. Exactly.
exactly. Yeah. So it's the playfulness that keeps us young, and it's that unstructured play, it's the getting messy, it's the learning, it's the making mistakes, it's the connecting. Um, that's really about what I want to continue on. And I think we have to make it intentional. We forget to play because we're so focused on work. We have to be intentional. That play is an important part of our well-being. It's part of our delight. It's a basic need to be playful and to play.
I would even say that that's the gift of having kids, because kids invite you to play like every moment of the day, but we have that structure. So that's the gift that every child brings to this world and to the families and communities.
And that's what I'm so excited about in being a grandparent, is that
Oh,
opportunity to go and play. It should be fun.
oh, that's going to be our sparkle of the summer.
Exactly. That's what summer means to me this summer. It's playfulness with our new grandbaby.
Oh,
So,
so happy
I
for
for
you.
my yeah, for myself, summer is a lot about nature, being in nature. All winter long, it seems like I'm inside. What can nature teach us about slowing down and renewing our energy?
Nature has 4 cycles. It has summer, autumn, winter, spring, and summer is not rushing, and nature is not rushing from one to another. It sort of flows naturally. So I always say, the tree doesn't think if it should do something yesterday or tomorrow. The owl doesn't think, what I will eat tomorrow. It's so present in the moment. And from my experience, if you practice mindfulness or anything, it really brings you to present moment. In present moment, we tend to slow down from the busyness of outside world, from the busyness of our work, from the busyness of corporate world. Nature just is. And when you pause, you can, there is this saying, you you can hear the grass growing. Is that invitation to really pause and to observe how the nature is blooming, how it's changing. I always see a picture of that when I think of that, of our dog. Like each morning he goes out to our garden and he would sniff every new flower. He's so funny. He also pee on them. Okay, I can skip that part. But he finds each new flower and he's like, oh, it's new. It came up in the morning or through the night. So the nature just invite us to use all of our 5 senses, what we can see, what we can hear, what we can touch, what we can smell, what we can taste. And with that, we really expand the time. We could expand the time of summer if we enjoy it, of course. Some people would like to skip it, but we can expand it with awareness and pausing and just taking delight in what's just in front of us.
I have to tell you, this morning, I was out on a walk, and the fields, there's some growth in the fields around us now. And I noticed a little movement,
Mm.
and it was a deer.
Mm.
And the deer must have must have noticed me. And I had noticed it moving, and then it saw me, and then it pauses, and then it kind of turns. And I was thinking, we often don't take that pause. We're just moving. And I was just watching that deer. It paused, it took a look around, it noticed me, and then it just leaped forward and kept moving. And I thought, wow, how powerful. What a beautiful part of nature to take a pause, take in what's all around, and then to keep moving.
Yeah, exactly. And you could even see that the deer pausing. And would you say what I tend to observe also in my clients and in general is that when people start to slow down, they start to feel guilty for pausing, for taking rest. And maybe that can even happen in summer. You want that pause, but you also feel like, do I deserve it?
Yeah, for me, it's always been, okay, the summer holidays, we're going to do big cleaning. We're going to get the garage clean. I'm going to clean my office. We're going to get lots of stuff done. And it's like, why am I going to take my holidays to work even harder? And I think, as a child, I was taught that, it's work before play. You
Mm,
know, even at school, get your work done before you can go out for recess. And it's like, that was the culture, right? That we need to work really hard so we can accomplish something, so we can be successful, so we can make money. Um, and then you can rest, then you can play. And, I think that we were just taught that. And what I've learned is that when I kind of slow down and I renew my energy, when I recover my energy, and I'm out walking and I see the deer and I notice the crops and the beautiful fields, that I actually get inspiration, I get creativity, I get excitement, I get an energy that actually supports my work and that I don't have to work as hard. Because when I'm so tired, it seems like everything is so effortful. And what I've recognized is the more that I can balance that energy expenditure and energy recovery, the more I can rest and renew my energy, that work goes faster and I'm better at it. I'm more creative. I don't know. It just seems to be that rest and recovery and renewal are an important part of our well-being so that we can do what we want to do with vitality.
and I would really invite our listeners to maybe check in on that, if they were also raised in a culture where work always comes before play, and after all the work is done, it's space for that joy, which kind of makes me sad. And thank you so much for pointing that out. So such a big pattern to be recognized and addressed in ourselves and in our society.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, how do we recognize, that that healthy well-being practices, that healthiness, and just the constant busyness? How can we recognize that?
It connects to what you just shared, to this topic. We were taught to be busy, to do the work so we can give ourselves time. And for me, that meant that I became very highly efficient because they gave us more and more work. So we needed to do more and more. And like even when I worked in corporate world, that was clearly visible because we have so much new legislation every year coming into force. And also companies don't have the capacity and resources to actually implement everything. So what happens is people get more and more tasks to be done on daily basis, on weekly basis, on monthly basis, and you never actually can do all of them. So the work never actually stops. So then, because we have to do all of those things, if we want to do the play and the joy, we became highly efficient in that pattern of doing, doing, doing. But the challenge is that then when we have time to rest, we are so used to that pattern that we keep on doing it. Like we need more experience, we need experiences, we need more adventures, we need more holidays. I now just enjoy being home. And in the past, if I wanted to have a rest, I always had to go somewhere, because at home, I just saw that long to-do list, everything that wasn't done yet, completed. And my mind just couldn't feel safe, relaxed in that enjoyment, because I didn't complete that pattern. When I left home, I packed, but then when I came to the place, then there wasn't that to-do list present. So for me to recognize the difference between healthy activity and that busyness is, are you able to pause? Are you able
Mm.
to pause when you travel somewhere? Are you actually enjoying there? Or you're just, building up all the good experience and never actually feeling it, integrating it, enjoying the food, enjoying the sun? And the same at home. When you come home, do you see only the to-do list? Or you can actually pause also at home. I'm seeing people also here in Slovenia having such beautiful gardens with flowers, with fruit trees, but only thinking all of the time what they need to do with them. How will they make marmalades? How will they cut them? Then they're already thinking how the leaves will drop off and you will have to, put them away. So recognize if you're pausing with it, enjoying, or just rushing through.
Mm. Yeah. Being present.
Exactly. Yeah. And
Fe
Paula, yeah, go
yeah.
ahead.
And just feeling the enjoyment of it, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's so simple, right? Would you share with our listeners something that brings you joy and really costs absolutely nothing?
Hmm. So many of my daily activities, the morning walk, the walk in the forest, standing on my lawn on the grass in my bare feet and doing yoga or qigong, um, having a cup of tea with a friend, walking by the river, being with family. I guess that sounds a lot like connecting with myself, connecting with friends, with family, connecting with nature. That just brings me so much joy. Movement, mindful movement brings me joy.
So simple, right? Not a
Yeah,
long to-do list, just pausing with yourself, connecting with yourself and others.
yeah.
Yeah.
And are there, some simple practices and pleasures that you have, things that delight you, that help you to stress less and bring more joy?
Well, I like when the summer is hot. I know a lot of people are overwhelmed by the heat, but I rarely feel that it's too hot for me. Or even if it's hot, I just take my clothes off and use some, water or something like that. And that usually is enough to support me. But it's not only about the warmth. I like being barefoot. And I enjoy the warm summer because my feet are then warm and I can be barefoot in house and outside of the house and on the grass. And even, in some parks, they have these sensory paths when you have different materials and you walk barefoot through it. And I just love that experience. I feel like, in more cold months or in more watery months, we don't have the pleasure of walking barefoot. And that
Mm.
gives me such a big sense of grounding, connecting with the earth, feeling my body part of the earth. I feel the nourishment, the safety. We're always supported by our Mother Earth. And that's one of my biggest pleasure that I also pass on to my daughters who were barefoot. That's the advantage, of having floor heating, because the kids can be barefoot really soon. And I just enjoy that. And maybe the second pleasure is water. One is swimming in different, in lakes, in rivers, in swimming pools. But also sometimes we just play with water at home on our porch. We don't have a swimming pool, but we do have source of water and we just play and we sprinkle. And water is such an important element for me in the summer. to enjoy and to connect.
And I can picture that river that's very close to your home.
Yeah,
The beauty of that river and the enjoyment that it provides.
yeah, yeah, exactly. Paula, would you lead us to a summer well-being practice, maybe?
Absolutely. One of the things that I love savoring. So savoring is this opportunity to focus for a very short period of time. And we can focus on something that we enjoy, something that delights us, something that brings peace to us, beauty. So let's just take a moment to bring in some savoring. So let's begin, and we'll use a little bit of a body practice with this that will place one hand on heart center right in the middle of your sternum. There's a beautiful calming point called the Sea of Tranquility. And if it's available, even placing your other hand just above that. And just taking a moment to breathe, take a moment to arrive, and taking a moment to savor a joyful summer experience. Is there a memory, a place in summer that brings you so much delight, joy? And just noticing it as you breathe deeply and exhale slowly. Feeling the expansion of the breath on the inhale and the release, the letting go, the relaxing on the exhale. Bringing to mind this summer experience that you would like to savor. What do you see? What are the colors? What do you notice? What are the sounds around you? What do you hear? Are there any textures that you feel? Maybe with your hands, your feet, maybe the wind on your face. Can you smell anything? Taste anything? Breathing deeply, exhaling slowly, and just noticing how you feel right here, right now, in this summer savoring experience. And taking a gentle breath in and a slow breath out. I invite you to come back into our space and to notice, how does that feel, Doris?
Very nourishing, relaxing, and motivating.
I love it.
I look forward to it already. The summer is here. um, well, from this beautiful moment of savoring, I'm inviting us and our listeners to a summer challenge. A summer challenge that will expand our well being. So I invite you to pause for a moment and think of 3 things you want more in this summer. And then you think of 3 things you want less this summer. Really finding them right now in this space. And maybe noticing from this beautiful moment you just savored, what are 3 things you want to bring in this summer? And what are the 3 things you're letting go? And Paula, would you share what's showing up for you?
Yeah, I would like more laughter, more playfulness, and more connection. And I would like less technology, rushing and pushing, and less to-do lists. What about you?
Resonates with me very
Yeah, does
much.
that resonate? Okay, tell
So
me
much.
about you. What do you want more of and less of this summer, Doris?
Well, what I want to do more, have more, is more presence. Even more presence in my body, following my body. And the thing that my body really longs for in this busy schedule is cuddling, just cuddling with my family. And I want that more. And I want to spend more time in the nature, outside, outdoors, everywhere. And also, I want to play more with my kids and my husband, of course. Yeah. And less, I would like to I'm inviting less pressure, this time pressure, to-do lists, and less structure. Just stepping out of this structure of, let's say, more structured part of the year to go in more connection with my body and coming from the present moment.
Beautiful.
And we would invite our listeners to write down your summer challenge list. 3 things you want more this summer, 3 things you want less, and you can share it now, or we will check in again, connecting end of summer. How do you feel about that and how it affected your well-being? Thank you for being with us, listening to us. Have a beautiful summer. Take care of yourself. And remember to subscribe, like. Until next time on Stress Less, Joy More.